Hey guys, this is Mark Yo here again and welcome back to my channel. As you guys may have seen from the title, today is my full review of the latest Xiaomi 11T Pro after using it for more than 1 week already. Yes, I already updated the phone to the latest MIUI 12.5.10 last Sunday and tested it again. You guys can check it out my previous video on the issues I faced after using this phone for the first 2 days. I'll put the link down below the description. Firstly, let's talk about the overall build and design. I like the brush finish at the back of this phone, and the camera design also look not bad. However, the back is made of plastic. Okay, it's not glass. It's similar to Samsung classic material. Of course, some of you might want to insist that this is glass. I can only say that, to me, this is a cheap feeling glass, period. And the frame is also plastic. And I'm not against plastic, but it's totally different feel from the time I held last year Mi 11T Pro, which had glass back and metal frame. Well, it's just my personal opinion. You guys can feel it yourself. Don't take my word for it. Although the back cover is made of plastic, to add on is that the weight is still 204 grams. It can be a bit heavy for some people. And the weight will definitely increase if you put on a rugged case. To me, a phone ideal weight is less than 200 grams. And to be fair, it's lighter and thinner than last year Mi 11T Pro, the trade-off from using a plastic bag and frame. As for the screen, it has a 6.67-inch display with 120Hz refresh rate. There's an upgrade on the screen from IPS LCD to AMOLED compared to last year Mi 11T Pro. The resolution still maintained at 1080p Full HD, and the brightness level can go up to maximum 1000 nits, which is nice. I won't say that this is the best AMOLED screen, but it's not bad. Xiaomi claims that it can support Dolby Vision and HDR10+. As you can see here, it supports L1 white wine, which is good. And during my usage, I enjoy using it for YouTube and Netflix. The colors are vibrant and pops up. But one thing I need to point out is that if you're on white or light background, you'll see small red tinted lines at the surrounding of the four edges of the screen, which can be annoying sometimes. Do let me know if you guys are facing the same issues on your 11T Pro. One thing I'd like to point out is that I appreciate Xiaomi for including the latest Corning Gorilla Glass Victus, which is tough, to be honest, for extra protection against drop. Performance-wise, the 11T Pro packs this year Snapdragon 888 chipset. Daily tasks, I didn't experience any hiccups or lag. Opening and closing apps is like a breeze. Almost all the apps also supports 120Hz refresh rate on this phone, except for YouTube is still on 60Hz. Just that I need to point out is that this phone still doesn't support smooth 90 FPS on PUBG. Balance Extreme, HD Extreme, HDR Extreme, and UHD. Other Snapdragon 888 phones like the Mi 11, Realme GT, and Nubia Red Magic 6R, 90 FPS is enabled for PUBG. Some info for those hardcore PUBG gamers up there. As for Genshin Impact, I've enabled most of the high settings as possible and also enable 60 FPS. However, at the start of the game, the frame rates are only at 30 to 40 FPS with occasional stutter. Hardly touch 45, 50 FPS and above, which is weird. At the beginning 7 minutes after I played, the temperature rose from 36 to 42 degrees Celsius. And after that, it went to 44, 45 degrees Celsius after 20 minutes. To me, it's still acceptable a bit because some of the 888 phones can rise up to 47, 48 degrees Celsius after playing Genshin Impact. Maybe because of the liquid cooling system on this phone, or maybe it's not able to play Genshin Impact at 60 FPS. I'm not really sure. I can only say that MIUI 12.5 update on this phone is still not optimized yet. So as you guys can see here, this is not combat. This is just the characters moving around. And as you can see there, occasional stutter. Even though I've already set the FPS to the maximum 60 FPS. And also the temperature is only at 41.8 degrees Celsius. It hardly reaches 40 FPS. See? As for Antutu, I've done twice on the test on two separate different occasions to avoid thermal throttling. And these are the results that I obtained, which is shocking. Usually Snapdragon 888 phones will get scores at around 750k to 800,000 and above. But this is disappointing. And yes, this is the 11T Pro and this is the 11T. Yesterday I got tipped by one of the subscribers here that Xiaomi deliberately reduced the performance of the 11T Pro to avoid overheating and further consumption of battery. No wonder the gaming and Antutu performance of this 11T Pro is not up to my expectation. And you guys can check it out, the article by Gizchina reporting on the findings by Anandtech reporter. I'll put the link down below. This phone has a triple camera setup. 108 megapixel main shooter in daylight shot, and night mode turned out to be satisfying. As for the 8 megapixel ultra-wide lens, daylight shot is okay, but it loses some details at night even with night mode on. And the 5 megapixel telemacro lens is not bad. Managed to capture some details. One of the complaints I have heard so far from others is the lack of optical image stabilization (OIS) on this camera. Yes, their concern is valid. Even with electronic image stabilizer on, video recording turned out to be a bit shaky. So make sure your hands are still as possible when taking videos. There are two areas which I'm satisfied on this 11T Pro. The battery charging speed using the 120 watt Insane Hypercharger. I personally tried it. From 0 to 100% took 90 minutes. 2 minutes extra compared to Xiaomi official 17 minutes. One thing to point out is that during charging, the phone is very hot. Not that I can't hold the phone, but it's still very hot. We all know that high temperature, things will expand. So what is the long-term effect on the battery lifespan? I really don't know. As for the battery life, I managed to get around 7 hours of screen on time with 1.5 days of battery life, which is not bad. But it's far from the 10 hours screen on time with 2 days battery life on the Mi 10T Pro, which I used last year. As for the dual stereo speakers, they are powered by Harman Kardon and Dolby Atmos. During my test, the sound output is great, strong bass and rich in sound. I'll say it's definitely in my top 10 list of great dual stereo speakers. Something to add on the haptic feedback, the haptic is pretty weak, even when you turn it on to the maximum setting. So there you go guys, my full honest review on the latest Xiaomi 11T Pro. Firstly, I want to say that I'm not against Xiaomi. Xiaomi has been one of my favorite brands for many years. I've always thought that Xiaomi provides great value for money phones, but this time, I personally think that there are too many shortcomings in this new phone. Screen issues, gaming performance issues, plastic build, etc. etc., including the WhatsApp notification and voice messages issue, which I mentioned in my previous video. Personally, I would skip this phone and go for a cheaper Mi 10T Pro or Poco F3, or top up some money for a true flagship like the Mi 11. Do let me know if you have any questions. Until then, take care, stay safe, and peace guys.